So England getting over the line. It all comes down to Bristol to decide the series. In all fairness, 1-1, fair result. And I think it could have been an exciting finish at the end, but England did manage to counter the spin factor, bowled well enough. And so there it is, 1-1. Trying to wrap things up here on Cricbuzz Live. Got Joy Bhattacharjya, Zaheer Khan with me. Fair result in the end. Just as you said, 160 would have been the kind of total India would have hoped for.
I think so, and again we keep going back to the start, and when you lose those 3 wickets, you're always catching up with the game, I think, and all in all, I think it was good game of cricket. Went till the last over. I think Umesh Yadav was big positive bowling in those death overs, just getting the ball to dip into the right hander. I guess there was some hint of reverse swing. So at that stage, I thought, maybe the game is in India's hand, with last over about 13 to get, could have been. But I think Hales was just superb. He's batted well, and when the first ball goes for a big hit, the pressure is always on the bowlers. So I think all in all, England was a very controlled chase. Hales was shifted to number 4 in today's match, responded well. I think all in all, looked like England was able to deal with the wrist spin of Chahal and Kuldeep as well.
So who would you say is the man of the match, Hales or Merlin?
Merlin. I'm a huge believer in Merlin. I mean, I think they've got a lot of practice, but also seriously, if you look at this, it was again, throughout the IPL, we had this magical 17th over where things changed. And this was another 17th over. I mean, Kuldeep, which is arguably India's strongest weapon, going up against in that time, maybe he had the wrong end. Maybe he could have bowled the 18th and he wouldn't have been so vulnerable to being hit over cow corner. But that 16-run over from a 39 in 4 to 23 in 3 just changed everything.
But the question is, should he have been bowling that? Because he bowled 10 and 12. We expected him to bowl 14 and 16 because he had that end. They gave that 1 over to Hardik Pandya, switched ends for him, and he bowled 15 and 17. Maybe something Kohli will look back on and saying, should I have done that?
Well, I think in this format, if you see, none of the captains usually go with just one bowler bowling 4 overs. You always want to have that mini break for a bowler and for batsmen not to get used to the lengths and line and the variations also. So that's generally the tactics used by most of the captains.
No,
I think in this
fair
format.
call. But in this case, because we talked so much about the extremely short boundary at one end, could he have maybe just said that I'm going to stick to this end for Kuldeep?
But also you got to look at the form of the bowler as well. I think Kuldeep, having taken 5 wickets in the previous game, you knew as a captain, you always going to bank on a bowler like that, and 17th over is the moving over of this format, and it's important that you're one of the main bowlers bowl that, and Kuldeep, the kind of form he's in, Virat was thinking of him as a wicket taking option at that stage, and if you take a wicket at that stage, yes, today it didn't go India's way, but I think in that situation, 1 wicket at that stage suddenly puts more pressure on the batting side, chasing the target.
But a good point that he made, firstly about Umesh, but let's not forget Bhuvneshwar Kumar. His first 3 overs, absolutely outstanding. Nothing much he could have done the way Hales played those last couple of shots, but Bhuvneshwar, brilliant.
No, absolutely. I think what Zaheer is also saying is that given you have 148, 149 and this boundary with one ground with boundary on one side, the cards that Virat had on his hand were not very strong. He played them as well as he could. It didn't work. Yeah. He had. You could have said that it's 19-20 ka fark hai, little bit here and there, but it's just that he did what he could. He moved them around and he tried his best to do whatever he could. I still though have my doubt about that 17th. I think he could have waited till the 18th. Really, and kept the same end going.
Well, yes, speaking of 19-20, literally it came down to 19-20 in terms of 19 and 20. India were in the game despite that big over. They held it back, and with Umesh bowling that death over the way he bowled it, and Bhuvneshwar, of course, that second last over that he bowled, they really were in it, and it's 12 to defend, 13 to defend. I think you could fancy yourself that you're very much still in the game.
True. My only thing is that's the over that, really that's the over that set it up in the beginning, and I think that was a fantastic over. I think one great thing about this is that Bhuvneshwar Kumar is definitely back in form, and this is going to be a long summer in England, and it's really important for India that he is back in form, and he definitely is. So he is there. The question you have to ask yourself is, the other good news is that Umesh actually bowled a fairly decent second last over, and he's not recognized to be, you were saying Zaheer, bit of swing out there, quite a bit of pace, bowling at 144, 145. He delivered for India. I mean,
absolutely. I think I was happy to see some reverse swing. On this in this shorter format, you don't usually see the reverse swing as such. But if you look at the game, the game was even at 10 over mark. Both the teams have scored about 50 odd runs, and you look at the scorecard as well. One guy taking the team through. For India it was Virat scoring that 47 runs, and for England it was Alex Hales, scoring that crucial 50.
Yeah, the
score scorecard also shows that the game was a even game. Both the teams had a chance, and England just was better on the particular day.
You have to give credit. I mean, I know we have obviously look at it a lot from India's point of view. You have to give credit to the way England chased it very calmly. They sent Joe Root at number 3. Yes, it didn't come off, but you could see the intent.
Also, look, the fact of the matter is, these are two very successful sides playing against each other. Neither of them is scared of defeat. You lose 4-5 and you lose confidence. Neither of these teams are that. Even England would have said, dust themselves off after the next match and said, we've won a hell of a lot of matches recently. This is just one blip. We'll go back to service will be normal next. And similarly, India will also dust itself off after this match and say, "ठीक है यार, one match ऐसे हो जाता है." So that's what I'm saying. Two very confident teams. Neither team is going to lose and suddenly say that, "Arey yaar, what are you going to do? That team is much better than us." And that's interesting.
Unlike, of course, Australia, as we keep saying. It's not often we get to say it. Let's keep saying it.
Let's keep saying it.
No one's in Australia here.
Yeah, no one's in Australia here. Absolutely. I fully agree.
But so it all comes down to Bristol. There have been some interesting clashes there in the past, a bit of weather around, but the way the summer's been going, I think even Bristol will be as dry as a bone. So it'll be an interesting final call there from both sides. Team changes for either side. Joy?
I mean, the kind of combination they have, I think India will not. There's no particular reason to change the deck, because the only, card you could change out here is put Kunal Pandey in, and I don't know in whose place he'll come. I mean, really, do you want to replace a specialist spinner with Pandya? I don't think you do. Everyone else, by and large, picks themselves because the amount of time they've had, none of them are enough. None of them it's enough for you to turn around and say, "This guy's not in form. I want to not play him." So I think they'll stick to their pack.
And India has got a good record at Bristol. I think it's the wicket always suits batting, so that's an advantage for Indian team, and the bounce there is also true. So today's wicket, you suddenly saw that extra bounce, and that probably worked in England's favour. But I think Bristol will surely be working in India's favour.
Again, another good chasing ground. Last 11 matches, at least in terms of domestic cricket, 7 won by the side chasing, 4 by the side batting first. So I think that also will be. I mean, we're not saying the toss is such a crucial factor, but certainly there's no.
Well,
doubt.
I think in this format it is becoming more and more crucial factor because a lot of teams are just feeling comfortable chasing the totals down. They just know that when they have the idea of how to go about these 20 overs, when you have a target in front, doesn't matter on the lower side or on the higher side, it just kind of helping teams approach better their innings.
Yeah, well, Virat Kohli also said after the game that England made perhaps better use of the wicket. India lost just too many wickets up there, and it's very hard to come back from that kind of a start.
Yeah, I just want to go back to his point. One of the reasons why in the IPL, before this, you had a situation where teams would actually sometimes bat first is because they knew that wicket very well. An IPL team is playing 7 matches, say, on their home ground, in their same ground. So they know that wicket, they say, okay, this is going to be a 160 wicket or 150 wicket. Here in international matches, when you're changing wickets every day, getting one call wrong is too dangerous. You'd rather say, let the opponents go and bat, let them go in and let them discover how much this wicket is worth. Then I'll take my call. So it's just postponing that decision which you otherwise need to make that call every time. And I think that's why in international T20s you'll see even more calling of fielding first.
But overall, just to wrap up, one match each. I think again it's been a fair result on both occasions, sets it up beautifully. But again, talking about a long summer ahead, the good thing is that even when you've lost, say from India's point of view, enough positives to take out. Enough
positives, enough. I mean, I just feel Umesh is bowling today, Bhuvaneshwar being back in form, Virat getting some runs, and that's going to be really important. Virat is whatever, Rahul's been fantastic, everyone's fantastic. Virat is a fulcrum of this side. This side, the ethos of this side is all about Virat, and Dhoni getting a few runs won't hurt.
Well, since you've mentioned that, before we talk about England, I think we should, given that it's past midnight in India, from all of us at Cricbuzz Live, say a very, very happy birthday to the man with the white stubble, MS Dhoni. We could see the little one was there, wide awake, trying to cheer the team on a losing note, but nonetheless, I think he'll still want to go and celebrate ahead of Bristol.
Absolutely, I think, it's a special day, so you got to make the most of it, and I think that stubble is a sign of him showing that he's maturing with age.
Is he the kind of person? I know there are some people who are very reserved about landmarks, birthdays, etc. Does he like celebrating?
I don't think so. I think with Indian team in that dressing room, birthdays are always special. They are celebrated with the cake flying all around in the dressing room.
Cleaning up you'll see
you'll see on social media few posts where not only MS, I think few others as well must be plastered with cake all around.
So who's the biggest cake plasterer in this particular lineup? Is it the younger boy?
Used to be Lakshman. Used to be Lakshman. Now I don't know who the baton has been passed on.
You must have been a victim a few times.
Everyone, I mean, Indian team doesn't spare anyone.
And this funny thing is, that's why after I think about 7-8 years back, they started buying 2 cakes.
Yeah. Because one would eat and
one to just put on the face. And that, it's not a great sight. I've seen it happen all the time. It's not a good sight.
I know you're smiling because I haven't so far mentioned for everyone in Bengal and Goa and a few other supporters, Brazil. I mean, we have to mention that once, don't we?
Yeah, it's not.
India disappointed, Brazil disappointed.
Brazil disappointed, yeah. So half of Calcutta's lights went off when Argentina went out. The other half is now gone off because Brazil is out. But interesting. I mean, I think I see hope from France. I see great football from Belgium. Wow, this should be interesting. So it's going to be an Asterix versus Tintin fight at some point in time now.
Brilliant, brilliant. But from England's point of view again, since we are on Cricbuzz Live, we are talking cricket to the best of our abilities. England made one change coming into this game, Jake Paul instead of Moeen Ali. How do you think they'll approach that final game? That's the lineup that was for today's match.
I think they will stick to the same lineup. They would want to keep the winning combination going. Plus, Jake Ball was making use of that extra bounce. So that's something which they would want to persist with going in the last game. All in all, it's a perfect setup for the last match. I still feel that India has been playing consistent cricket, and even today's game they were in with a very good chance to win the match. So I think it's going to be India's series.
Yes, well, Alex Hales has pipped Merlin to the post and got the man of the match, but what we are left with is the joy factor to wrap up.
Absolutely. So this question, I told you, we had to have a question which was a part football question. So it's about a player who's played international cricket for England but has also been a defender, central defender for Manchester United. His son played, pretty decent cricket and has a test hat-trick. Who is he? The player is Arnie Sidebottom, medium pacer. Arnie, his son Ryan Sidebottom, left arm pacer. You would have played against him quite a while. Interesting thing is, you'd be always wondering, and I've thought about it, why is he named Sidebottom? Okay, and it's got nothing to do with his bottom, so I'll have to put you out of your misery. Its side comes from a word which was actually meant valley. So they used to live in the bottom of the valley, and it has nothing to do with how he wears his underwear. So Arnie Sidebottom it is. That's the answer, and I think quite a few answers have come in.
But I wonder if the winner was forced to actually give us this little bit of golden trivia about that, about side bottom. But nonetheless, who is our winner? Where is he from?
Vivek Agarwal. Okay, if you have a name like Viv,
Yeah.
you should be winning cricket quizzes as well. You know, Agarwal Viv, definitely. Good to see some. I think I've seen this name before.
Yeah, well, Agarwal at Agarwal Viv1. Well, as you said, if that's a great handle to live with, you certainly win yourself that. Ryan side bottom, Ani side bottom. Let's see if we can keep this. Maybe it's a theme you can keep going. Try and find us a good joy factor that has a bit of a football flavour to it for the next one as well. Good challenge to
Are there
Sonia.
any more cricketers who had got football connection?
I asked one before, Dennis Compton, but yeah, there are plenty of them. And anyway, half our cricketers get injured playing football, so it's a very sore topic with the Indian team after Washington Sundar got injured.
Yes, of course, the Comptons did have the, the bit of trivia. The first ever floodlit cricket match played was thanks to the Comptons, because they organised a match between Middlesex and Arsenal at Highbury way back when. And it's technically recorded as the first ever floodlit cricket match, and today we have cricket under lights all the time.
Fabulous. I didn't know that. That would have been a joy factor if you hadn't given it, but that's a fantastic piece of trivia.
Well, on that footballish cricketing note, that's where we'll wrap up Cricbuzz Live for tonight. We're going to be back with the next game, and that's going to be the decider just down the road from Cardiff as you head back into England. It's in Bristol, not too far away from the beautiful ancient town of Bath, since we've been talking about Asterix and Tintin taking on each other in one particular semi-final of the World Cup. And that's what it's going to be, the third T20 International from the county ground in Bristol. Very interesting ground. It's got these blocks of flats at one end of the ground. Who's going to be smashing the glasses over there? 6 p.m. Remember, it's not going to be a late night game. So it's going to be an early Sunday evening. We're going to be there. We'll see you soon. Big thank you to Joy, to Zaheer Khan. We'll see you soon.